motherfuckers, we back
at it again.
This is the 2 Cents You Call This podcast.
One time for the one time.
I am your host, X, and I'm here with my brother from another mother, Dub. What's happening?
Hey, what's happening, my brother?
Hey, man, you know what it is. Back in the trap.
Back in the trap. We are back for episode number 37, man.
Hey, man.
It's the second episode after the break. How you feeling?
A little sluggish, but, you know.
Okay.
Getting back into the swing of things. We just had that conversation.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about it on the show. Y'all know what it is. You can always go catch us on YouTube at the 2 Cent You Call It podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Please go like share, comment, subscribe. And y'all know how you rocking on the on your earbuds. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify for your listening pleasure. So you can catch us everywhere, man. Y'all make sure y'all go get caught up on all of the episodes if you haven't already. We just kicked off season 2, so this is 2 episodes in, man.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good one tonight. We got a couple of things we gonna break down.
From your lips to the mouth, or your lips to God's
ears. Yeah, I think we got some things that we gonna break down. We gonna touch on some things that we talked about last week, and we gonna keep it moving, man. First things first, my brother. Friday night, what's in your glass?
I am on the Soixante Neuf.
Soixante Neuf.
Basically a French Connection. So cognac and orange. Well, no, this is actually a cherry liqueur. Cognac this time.
Okay.
What you got over there?
I'm gonna keep it simple tonight, man. It was a struggle getting over here today, and I ain't feel like stopping. I was beelining it over here, so
hey, brother,
keeping it simple with an apple whiskey on the rocks.
Just straight. Okay.
That's it.
You want nothing?
Nothing, not a mixer. So we gonna see how the show goes.
Right, we pour the whole bottle in your glass over there.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay, man. How was your week?
Week was pretty shitty.
What?
Literally and figuratively.
What happened, man?
Monday was cool. We recorded on Sunday and stuff, so got back.
Still ain't got that show out, but we working on it.
The show is probably already out by now.
By the time
they listening,
by the time listeners, but by the time we recording, I'm still waiting on it.
You'll be all right. They'll be all right too. They waited 2 months. They'll be okay for another week. But yeah, got back into the swing of work.
Okay.
Tuesday night, my internet actually ended up going out.
Damn, no porn.
I don't watch porn.
You a motherfucking lie.
I do not watch porn. You can look at my search engine over here.
Oh, okay.
I do not watch porn.
All right.
I watch adult films. But
crack is whack.
Show me the receipts. But yeah, it went out. So I was actually working on my mobile hotspot off my phone.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that because you work from home.
Yeah, so and I said I was gonna go into the office if it didn't start working again, but I didn't feel like getting up. So I was like, all right, let me just use this hotspot. So I was doing that for the past 2 days, and then yesterday, the tech came in and hooked it back up. So
okay,
I was back online today. Outside of that, I went to go get something to eat. Don't know what I ate, but it messed my stomach all the way up.
Fucked you up.
Yeah, so I was supposed to go to a wedding on Thursday with my mama. She asked me to be her escort. And I also had another event that I forgot about once I said I was going to come out to it.
Yeah, I figured you forgot about the event because when you told me you had the wedding, I was like,
Well, no, I actually committed to the wedding first.
Okay.
And then that came up, and I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, I won't be able to make it.
Yeah.
But so I just couldn't make it. And I was like, I was going to try, but I was going to be in and out over and over because that river was flowing. I was crying the whole river out my booty hole. But yeah, my stomach's back feeling better and stuff. So
that's what's up, man.
Other than that, got a good workout in and stuff. Got some new equipment. Got a new sauna vest.
Okay.
Because my old one was all messed up. And I was actually getting too fat for it too, to zip it like I used to. So now I got to get back on my grind.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, my week was shitty.
Literally.
Yeah, how was yours, man?
It was good, man. It's funny you mentioned you got to get back on the grind because we was just talking about that. I have definitely got to get back on it, man. It's anybody that's out there dealing with the struggles of being in and out of shape, man. I feel your pain because I have been bullshitting for maybe the last 2 months. And when I say that, I don't mean that I haven't been working out because I'm always working out.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't do fucking cardio. And I have got to get back on that shit, and I've got to start eating right because everybody that knows me knows that food is my weakness. And anybody that be like, hey, let's go eat lunch, I'll be like, where we going?
Let's do it. Yeah.
And I also don't believe in paying full price for a salad, which is why I can never get a salad anytime I go somewhere. I just don't understand, man. I don't understand why salads be so high, and I can't pay full price for them. I
pay full price for a salad.
I'm out on it.
Like a really good salad.
I'm a pass on it, man. I can't. It just don't make sense in my head, man, to be paying full price for lettuce.
Hey, brother, everything costs. It's just like a chicken sandwich, just chopped up. If you get the chicken.
Yeah, I guess.
You can go to they have some good salads.
Who?
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A do. But so I've actually looked into that, and if you actually look at the Chick-fil-A, like go and look at the nutrition value of a salad, this should be just as many calories as a fucking regular meal. I can get fries.
Well, everything gonna have calories, bro. You just gotta make sure you burn off more than you intake.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I do that, but I still, body chemistry ain't made up like that, man. But yeah, so that was I definitely got to get back on that. Other than that, man, the week was boring, man. I had a 4-day training that I was in Monday through Thursday, and it kind of pissed me off. You know how sometimes you sit at work. You know how you sit at work and you sit in a meeting that's way too long, and you be like, this could have been an email. Yeah. I was sitting in a 4-day training, and I was like, this could have been a day and a half. Like,
no. It should have been, what you doing? Train.
Nah.
Train yourself. Train at it. No, train him.
I'm telling you, like.
I don't want you nowhere near any of my shit if you ain't been trained.
But it was the fact of the matter is, like, it was literally a training with people that just really like to hear themselves talk. So the information piece of it was literally could have been a day and a half. It was just the whole I have war stories and I want to tell my story for the rest of the 3.5 day or 2.5 days. So it definitely it was a boring week, man. But you know me, I'm a multitasker, so I got a lot done in the trainings for other shit. Cause I was like,
y'all hear that? If you see Dub on the news, because he fucked up. It's because he wasn't paying attention. He was back there doing his taxes during training.
I was getting some other shit done, man, because I was like, I'm not about to waste 4 days of my life. So I'm going to pay attention for the pieces that I need to pay attention for. And when y'all get to talking about your war stories and all of your experiences and shit, I'm going to let you have it.
For shame.
But no, man, touching on a couple of things that we talked about last week. I know we was talking about, the Will and Jada situation.
Yeah.
And we tackled it from the main aspect of what went down at the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's way more to the story, and I think it's starting to unfold. But I guess biggest question off bat, yeah. We talked about that a little earlier, a couple of episodes ago. I heard it both ways. Biggest question off bat, how did we get here? How did they get here? And I feel like, I'll say this. I feel like societal standards, right? In 2022, everything is funny until it ain't, right?
Yeah.
Or, we look at, we basically just saw a grown man have a meltdown, right? Yeah. And you get in the society we live in right now, that's the highlight, right? But you don't look at what got him there to that point, right?
Yeah.
And I think is the thing about it is like everything is a joke until some shit like that happened. So how do you think we got there?
A whole bunch of bullshit. You know, we was looking at some stuff earlier and stuff. I think Will has gone through a lot of things and suffered in silence. Mm-hmm. He suffered for the entertainment of other people.
Yeah.
And he's had to act a certain way. And hasn't had that release that he needed. And I think he just got to his boiling point and that lid popped off. In a sense of me, I want to say he was also kind of emotionally manipulated at that moment. Because I think he was laughing at first and stuff, and I think it was just water off the back. Now, if you want to say back, you use that water off the back. And then he saw her, and then he was just like go time and stuff, and he just got tired of feeling emasculated and not in charge of his own home. I guess you could say that.
I definitely feel you there, and I agree. Let me say this. Abuse comes in many different forms and fashions. And, you know, we talked about earlier today how, you know, I guess he's in rehab right now.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said, shit is funny until it's not, right? We looked at a grown man basically implode.
Yeah.
And going back to the comment that I just made, abuse happens in multiple different forms and fashions.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a committed relationship, committed marriage. You have two people that love each other or should, quote unquote, love each other. And you're trying to give your all in the relationship or in the marriage.
Yeah.
We have witnessed an abusive relationship emotionally for years now, and it's been fun and games, and it's been funny, and everybody's poked fun at it until the motherfucker went up on stage and slapped somebody. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, but then it was still funny then to everybody.
Yeah,
that shit's not going away.
Because it's 2022 and we laugh at everything, but you literally you neglect the fact. A lot of people neglect the fact that this man was in an abusive relationship. And when I say that, I mean the information, the data, the clips, the fucking everything has been there for years, right?
Yeah.
We talk about how Jada capitalizes off of his emotion in the Red Table Talk, you know, whole series and whatnot, and just everything that has come out from there. Everything shouldn't be public. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in a relationship between two people and you're in a marriage, everything shouldn't be public. And I think you just showed me a clip of, you know, where she was posting him on social media, and Will was like, "Hey, you know,
yeah, it's not cool. Don't do that."
Yeah, and she basically looked at the camera like, "I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do."
Yeah.
So, from a mental health aspect, I guess, do you feel like it was, and you said he was manipulated in the moment, but you feel like he's pretty much been manipulated for a long time in this relationship?
I think the issue is, yeah. Well, let me just say yes. I do think he's been manipulated, but it's public knowledge now because I don't watch the Red Table Talk,
right?
Red Table Talk, but the clips and everything are coming out,
right?
Know? Jada never wanted to get married. She never wanted to be with Will and all this other stuff, but she got pregnant and all this stuff's coming out. But I think the relationship with his mother played a factor in it, and him wanting to protect that woman and give a woman everything that she wants, and just feeling guilty and wanting to be the best husband, and he's just been taking a lot.
Yeah.
And I know some people, mainly women, they'll be like, well, he's a grown-ass man. you need to stand up for yourself and can't nobody make you do anything. But on the other hand, you'll see women going through the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, because love is one hell of a drug.
It is, definitely.
And you get addicted to it.
Yeah, no, preach to the choir, brother. But had a flashback. But yeah, it's when somebody knows that they have you like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can do no wrong, and sometimes you're so in love that you don't see what's actually happening.
Now, do you think that most of the times when that happens, people take advantage of that situation?
Yeah, once they notice it, yeah. But I don't think people take advantage of it. I think everybody takes advantage of it, but not in a malicious way. Not everybody in a malicious way.
Okay, so speaking of malicious intent, right?
Yeah.
And we had a mini conversation about this earlier. We said we was going to save it for the show. It came out that, Jada never wanted to be married, and basically Will wasn't her first choice, right? Everybody keeps throwing Tupac in there, and, the letter from Willow to Tupac and the whole history between that and how Jada felt about him. Going back to malicious intent, do you feel like you can ever tell your significant other that they weren't your first choice and not be malicious about it? Because I feel like that would only come up in conversation if you was pissed off about that person.
Yeah, I think in a sense of statement like that, I think in a dating phase, if you ever talk about your ex or other stuff like that, it can come out unintentionally, but to intentionally to say like, no, I could have did better than you. If was here, then it would have been him. It should have been him.
Okay, so we're going to put a pin in that. I'm going to address what you just said, and then we're going to come back to that. Okay. Do you think it's a red flag if you are on a date with somebody and they continuously talk about their ex, or it comes up multiple times?
Oh, I would say, me personally, I really don't care about that. Mm-hmm. Unless it gets like excessive. Mm-hmm. But then I also need to figure out what exactly happened and how long has it been since y'all been together.
Okay.
And why aren't you over this person
right
by now?
Okay.
But I can't talk shit because you know me.
Yeah, because I can get what you're saying there. Going back to, telling somebody that they're not your first choice. Because the only time that I've heard that ever come out from a relationship is when a couple is either on the brink of divorce or breakup, mm-hmm. or in a state of rage.
Yeah.
So do you ever think that you can give that particular, I guess, would you call it a critique?
I try not to. I'm not the type of person that likes to argue. I like to get up, walk away, and that's why a lot of my ex-girlfriends are my ex-girlfriends now, because that's bad communication. Mm-hmm. But in the same sense, I learned that from my parents and my pops, is to walk away before you say something dumb, something that you don't really mean, mm-hmm. or that you might mean, but you don't need to say.
Right.
And it damages your partner. Excuse me. But you hear it all the time when people get into it and they just say some off the wall shit that they might not even mean. Famous go-to line is women that say, "Oh, you little dick nigga," and stuff like that. But you just 6 days ago, he was the biggest nigga that you ever had, and stuff. And it's like, nobody wants your ugly ass anyway and stuff. But you was just always trying to holler and shit and stuff. So you might say some shit just to get that get back. And sometimes truth slips out. And I think we all do lie to it. Well, I think it's essential to a lot of people in relationships.
Okay, to protect their ego.
Yeah, protect their feelings. Okay. I think if you're 100% honest with anybody, I think it's almost borderline abusive.
You think so? Why do you think that?
like you don't need to beat up on somebody about everything.
Agreed. I definitely agree about that. But I feel like if you have the thoughts of it being to a point to where you feel like you want to beat up on somebody, is that the person for you?
I think everybody gets to that point.
Okay.
Like even me and you, we might beat up on each other, but I don't think it's a malicious intent behind it and stuff like that. And sometimes we might get into a disagreement and stuff, and it may come off like that. Like even earlier and stuff like that, you was having a situation on your side, and I was like, "Oh, I think you are tripping over it." He was like, "No, I'm not tripping." Like, brother, you tripping on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I talked about you being a Cancer and Cancer's being moody and stuff like that. You said you wasn't moody. I was like, "Well, brother, you moody," and stuff like that. And it wasn't any harm behind it. It's just like real care. I be talking sometimes. I be losing myself in my thoughts.
No, well, we're definitely gonna touch on that subject in a minute, and when it comes to accountability, because I think that is a part of accountability. But going back to the issue of can you tell somebody some shit like that and it not be malicious intent? Because I feel like, well, first off, I feel like if you are not over somebody or okay, let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like
No, I'm not over her. If somebody's listening to this, no, I'm not.
All right. Well,
if her sisters listen to it, tell us
it. Do you feel like you do the next person? Okay, so from experience, do you feel like you do the next person a disservice by attempting or going into another relationship when you know that you're not of your last?
With me, I don't know, because you know me, like I be feeling deep and stuff. So usually it takes another woman for me to kind of help me get over that last person.
Yeah.
But it's not in the sense of that I'm using them to get over them.
But is that toxic? Or unhealthy?
I think everybody kind of does it.
Okay.
I think you just have to find that person that makes you
not want to think about that last person.
Yeah, just forget it. Like it's
okay.
That wasn't worth it. You know what I'm saying? My energy, my mental state is not worth that, because like you said, love is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I feel like that's human.
Yeah. I mean, and it's certain people you may be married for 50 years, but you be knowing like, yeah, back in the day, they had it like that, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I sit down and I talk to my parents about old ex-girlfriends and stuff like that, and my mom has every time I come by, she's reminded of somebody that she once loved before.
Yeah. And I think the same on my end, because I look almost identical to my dad, especially the older I get. So you know what, that might be
something we talk about on the Mother's Day episode.
That might be the issue between me and Mama.
Oh, but it might. Hey, it's happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think me and my grandma had an issue like that too, where I just looked like my biological father so much and stuff. But then again, she didn't want nothing to do with me anyway.
That could be a reason though.
That's a Mother's Day episode. We'll get on that.
Hey,
that topic.
Mother's Day episode is coming up,
and I'll be crying on that episode. So prepare yourself, because X do cry when he get his feelings.
He do, and I don't.
When them drinks start pouring way too much, I start cussing it from my mama and everything.
Yeah, man. I don't feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like you can tell your significant other that they wasn't your first choice and not be malicious about it. Like I feel like that's probably something that you should never say.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, because I'm always a person that's upfront and honest, and I'm always a person that feels like most things that should be placed on the table, especially when you have a close relationship like that. But at the same time, because we talked about this earlier, how do you tell somebody that without creating an insecurity? And I will say this. I always say that your significant other is not responsible for your insecurities. They're never responsible for that. That comes off of you. That's a personal issue you have to deal with. You need to, seek either therapy or just accept the fact that you have insecurities. But at the same time, I do feel like insecurities can be created in a relationship due to actions or experiences.
Yeah.
So how do you tell your significant other that, or do you feel like you should ever tell your significant other that? Because I feel like you shouldn't. If that's something that's in your mind or you have in the back of your head, I feel like you should never willingly or purposely let that come out, because it will create an insecurity for your partner.
I don't think purposely you should ever put that out, or I don't think I would ever put that out. But I mean, I think it goes unsaid. Like at this point, nobody's anybody's first choice, because we've all.
You think so?
We've all had exes and stuff, and if things worked out, we would never be in the picture.
I guess that's true.
So I mean,
guess at this age that may be true.
Yeah, unless you like only had one boyfriend in your life.
Yeah,
and it was when you was even then. It was like, I was supposed to marry such and such when we was in the second grade, and he gave me a ring pop.
Do you feel like that's more so geared towards women, or do you feel like that's on both men and women?
I think it's on both sides. Definitely. Okay. I think everybody has that great white buffalo.
The one that got away.
The one that got away.
Do you think? Okay, so I guess for us that would be in this age range, right? Because once you get to where we are older, you've had a couple of relationships, so maybe that is the case. Yeah,
and then sometimes you just waiting. I guess it's not for everybody. I guess sometimes you just haven't met the right person.
Okay.
And sometimes you met the right person, but you just weren't ready at that stage, and then you want to go back and revisit that, and sometimes it's not possible. So you end up, quote unquote, settling, which I don't really want to say you're settling, because that's not really settling. I think you just end up with the person that you truly needed, and and I don't think that should be used as a weapon to hurt somebody or to manipulate a certain change of action in them.
Yeah, but I feel like for their relationship, and going back to Will and Jada, I feel like there was malicious, or there was manipulation there, as far as, because and this is just obviously speaking from our opinion on the situation. I feel like she saw. I wholeheartedly feel like Jada is borderline narcissistic and definitely an opportunist. Yeah. And I feel like she saw, the potential in the Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? Like she saw what he was, getting ready to be. Cause I think I talked about this with one of our other shot callers. Shout out to Big Daryl. And we was talking about, how Jada was kind of popping before she met Will, but she wasn't really popping. You know what I'm saying? Like she had a few films under her belt. She had Low Down Dirty Shame. I think she had Woo. Was Set It Off before Will?
I think it was, but I think that was right when they yeah, I think it was.
So she definitely had a career going, but was it A-list career?
No, she's definitely like B, C tier. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not at all. I mean,
noticeable.
She's making more money than we making, obviously. Was.
She had her own TV show at one point.
Yeah, but at the same time,
after Will.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at where Will was in his career at that point in time, and I mean, obviously, you see the elevation. Like you see that this man's going places. He's going to be, the next whatever. Yeah. I feel like that may have been opportunistic.
Relationship.
That was definitely a point where she was like, "Hey, I could probably come up right here."
Well, marriage is quote unquote a business.
Yeah, it's transactional.
So I mean, I don't think anybody wants to be with somebody that's going to quote unquote downgrade them. They always want to be with somebody that's going to enhance them in some kind of way, whether it be financially or in their career field or emotionally or household wise.
Yeah.
But we're all looking for somebody. We're not looking for somebody that's a downgrade.
Ladies, y'all tap in the comments. I definitely want to know what y'all think about it when it comes to this particular topic. Definitely want to see, you know, how the ladies respond to this.
If
one.
our female guests ever show up.
But yeah. So do you think, moving on to, I guess, our next main topic, do you think a lot of it is comes from an accountability standpoint? And do you so I guess we can look at their particular relationship and then we can move into, you know, everyday what people experience. Do you think that there's a lack of accountability in that relationship? And when I say that, I mean to say that I feel like from the standpoint of Will, like I said, I feel like he was in an emotionally abusive relationship, but I feel like it got to that point because Jada stopped being held accountable for the actions that she took in the relationship.
Yeah. I would say from what I've seen, yes. I feel like Will has really tried and he's embraced the things that he's done wrong. With Jada, I think it almost feels like it from the outside looking in, it definitely looks like narcissistic traits.
Yeah.
Where on her end is definitely something's affected this, so this is why this is happening. So
but it's not
really
my fault.
Not my fault.
Yeah.
That this is going on. It's just hard. I mean, it's just hard to kind of deal with that.
So speaking of accountability, I have formed a statement that I feel like is very relevant to today's society, because I feel like a lot of us in 2022, right? I think a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm not going to allow you to judge me or don't judge me type deal. And I think that's taking the place of holding yourself accountable for the actions that, you know, you've performed. Like, I think we're getting so much into like judgment versus accountability. Where is the line? Because I feel like a lot of people say, oh yeah, nah, you just judging me. Nah, it's really you don't want to be held accountable for your actions. So how do you feel in that situation?
That definitely goes on. And growing up in the church, I've heard that a lot. Only God can judge me. Don't judge lest you be judged and stuff like that. But the Bible actually says you can judge. But I think when it comes from judgment to accountability, is condemning somebody for doing something that you're doing.
So being a hypocrite.
Yeah. I think that's the main issue. But say I'm out here having premarital sex and you're not, and you come to me and be like, hey man, you know, you shouldn't be out here like that, wilding out like that.
Yeah.
I think that's just you really trying to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
And especially if you come with it at love. If you just say,
right,
hey, kind of tighten up on this versus, hey, you a hoe, you all this, you fuck everything that you see, you a fuck boy and stuff like that. That might make me feel some type of way. I think that gets more into the judgment zone versus accountability is more along the lines of helping your brother, your sister to be better. Judging is just saying somebody's doing something wrong without having a resolution.
So question for you. Do you think that if you have a relationship with somebody, like y'all are close, you know what I'm saying, this is you have a true friendship with somebody and they tell you something about yourself that you don't want to hear and sometimes you don't necessarily agree with, Do you think it gets to a point to where you feel like you're being judged, or do you ever look at it from a standpoint of maybe this person is holding me accountable?
It just really depends on who's saying it.
Yeah.
If we're close like that, I think I can have a conversation with that person and say, all right, why you feel this way, and we can have it out, and I can defend my stance on certain points. And then you never know, I may go back, and maybe 2 weeks later, I might be like, you know what, I see what they talking about.
Yeah.
And I go back and change that behavior, and I can go back and thank that person. But I don't think I would ever just flip out on somebody trying to hold me accountable that I actually respect their opinion.
Yeah.
Because some people, like, all right, I don't give a fuck what you think anyway. What about you?
I agree definitely with what you're saying there. I do feel like, we get into, sometimes we have certain things as individuals, and I think it's a human trait. Certain things as individuals we just don't want to hear about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like you use it as a defensive mechanism because you don't want to hear that particular thing about yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like if a person that's close to you and a person that genuinely cares about you and loves you, I feel like if it comes from that person, there may be some evaluation that needs to happen on your end. Now, don't get me wrong, that person could be completely wrong about it, or you could get to a point to where you feel like, all right, that's not just a topic that I want your input on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can adjust and, have that conversation, adjust, and just move forward from it. But I feel like if you get to the point to where you're like up in arms about it, or, really, really angry, that's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
That means that that's something that you probably already know about yourself. You just don't want to hear it. Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So do you think there's a such thing as being too accountable?
From which point?
From any point. I just feel like, because I know I think both me and you have a commonality about being harsh on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
At certain times. So do you think that becomes an issue of being too accountable, quote unquote, too accountable?
I think so. But I think it really just has to do with self-esteem and self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Because some things you really can't change. And some things you can change, but they're just not going to change as fast as you want them to change.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be a little bit too critical of yourself. You may be holding yourself accountable to a unattainable goal or thought that you have in your mind, and it's just not possible for you. And there's nothing wrong with that because, life's a journey. There is no set timeline on anything. But I think as long as you have a fair assessment of yourself, mm-hmm. and you continue to work at something, you got to kind of ease up on yourself and listen to me and just preaching to myself and stuff. And right after we press stop on this recording, I'll be critical of myself again.
Hey, usually the advice that you give to somebody else is something that you needed.
Yeah.
So you talked about self accountability, right?
Uh-huh.
And being hard on yourself, but I feel like one of the biggest things, and this, I guess this goes back to, the judgment versus accountability thing. How important is it to you to have peer accountability? And when I say peers, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, people that you respect their opinion, people that know you past surface level. They know, mm-hmm. they kind of been with you through a few things. They know a lot about you. How important is peer accountability?
I think it's very important. I think that's the only way that you get better. That's the only way that you actually maintain a good level of representation of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
even when I was down in my rock bottom, you know, I might not have been able to see it myself, and even I thought like, nah, I wasn't tripping, I wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I had friends around me that held me accountable and said, hey, yo, what you doing? Like, you wilding out here. And even then, I was like, it is what it is. But then when I got back, I was like, you know what? I was doing some stupid shit, and I had to go back and figure out why was I doing certain things, and it took me like maybe 2 or 3 years to actually get down to the root of it, to see why I was doing the things I'm doing, and that's what that accountability does, because they'll know that's not in your character. People that really know you,
right.
And then, you know, because there's always a certain level of accountability, because some people only hold you accountable on the surface level.
Yeah, because they only know your representative.
Yeah, and those people that truly know you be like, all right, you gotta, you know, tighten up, man. You know,
we're gonna sidebar for a second, because I just want to ask about kind of something I just mentioned. How important is having a representative? Because and I guess this does kind of tie into being accountable and holding other people kind of accountable for their actions. How important is it to have a representative to where everybody doesn't get the full version of you?
I think that's really really important, because everybody doesn't need to know the full you. Everything isn't meant to be shared. And I guess I get a little bit, even on the show, I get a little bit lax sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we had the conversation. Yeah. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm putting too much out there.
Oversharing, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just a caricature of myself, because I do give, despite what y'all think, y'all don't get the real X majority of the time. Even people that feel like they know me.
Yeah.
If you're around me, if I start talking a certain way, you'll know, all right, well, the real X is starting to come out, because he's talking about everything that's going on in his life, and he's using a stronger accent than he's ever used, and he's scratching on himself because he's getting tired and shit. It's a privilege to see that certain person, and everybody doesn't deserve that privilege, because some people, you know, they just want access to that so they can judge
or spread your shit.
Spread your shit, exactly. But professionally, you always give off a representative. Yeah. I think in dating, for the first part, you give off a representative.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely agree with that.
And then even in friendships, you give off a representative until they gain that certain trust level with you. Right. What do you feel about it?
I agree. I'm gonna take it to a different level, because I showed you a clip earlier about you getting to the point to where you cut somebody off, right? And it drew a direct correlation to, like, when you get fired from a job, right? Yeah. And that job asks you for that access card back. Because at that point you no longer have access to the space that particular company or job or whatever inhabits, right? Yeah. And so you draw that direct correlation to you as an individual, and I guess this goes hand in hand with accountability and that representative of, once you make it past a certain point, I gave you an access card. Yeah. And once that card has been revoked, from me holding you accountable for your actions, from me saying that, hey, this is something about me that you need to understand. We've crossed this line a couple of times, and I'm just not fucking with it no more. Yeah. You get to the point to where you have to cut that person off. Do you feel like that access should be revoked, as far as, you know, because you made it past that representative, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I let you into my personal, me as a person. Like, I let you into who I am as a person. And there's a level of love and respect there, right? Yeah. Once you get to the point to where you feel like, all right, I'm revoking that access, does that, you know, okay, so back to the direct correlation, you get fired. You sometimes you can get fired with eligibility for rehire, or sometimes you fucking fired. You out of there. How does that look for you as far as, letting people back in your life? And is there a time period? Is there a do you have to, establish a boundary, or does that person have to, show you progress or show you change behavior before there's access back granted again?
I think so. I would. There are very few people that I would revoke access to my life.
Okay.
Permanently. I don't think I have any lifers. I don't have very many lifers in my life. It's always a possibility of parole and stuff like that.
Okay. I like how you worded that.
Or even you may get demoted in your position.
Okay.
So
certain access.
Yeah, you still have your card.
Right.
But you can't get into this door. Yeah. This is access denied. This is
certain places in the building that you can't go.
This is a level 2 access. You're on a level 1.
Got it.
Very surface level and stuff. So I'm still gonna be cool with you. I'm not gonna try to dog you out in person and stuff like that, because it's just not my personality, unless you're like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, I think we differ there.
1 or 2 people, the 1 or 2 people that I'll dog out anytime that they're mentioned. Well, not even dog out, but
it's known that I don't fuck with you.
Yeah. But I think it's important to have the empathy, because you may not know exactly
what somebody was dealing with.
Yeah. Okay. Or what they're doing, because even on my end, I have certain people that I will still want to be into their life, and I don't think they have the full empathy, or they just don't have the full story of what was going on with me when I acted my ass and went postal in the office.
Yeah.
And they revoked me out the fucking building.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to, I'm still talking to the security guard in the lobby like, hey, can I still get up to the penthouse?
And I like that you said that, because I always say that this podcast for me is therapy, and that particular comment made me look at myself differently and maybe reevaluate something that I'm very strong-headed about when it comes to empathy, because you were saying that from the revoked access perspective, you look at it about you wanting to be still in somebody else's life, or other people's lives that you've been revoked access from, and it doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? It feels like, and I know we've had conversations. I know about myself, I'm not a very empathetic person, and that kind of just hit home for me when you saying like, okay, I have to look at it from that perspective of that person may not have been in a healthy environment or a healthy headspace at the time that they did the bullshit that they did, that I revoked the access from. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And they could be in a completely different space, a whole different person, a growth. You have to, I guess, allow the growth to be there and acknowledge it, and then
it just basically, like I said, like parole.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if you bullshitting me or what. Right. But if that's true, okay, I'll give you the possibility, but you're not going to be at the same level that you were. And eventually you may get back to that level, but I don't ever want to make somebody feel like there's no possibility to get back into my life and that you mean nothing to me, because I don't think I can. That's just not in me to be.
And for me it is, but level. I think I struggle with it, because the fact that I always say, we've drawn this correlation of I just gave you the scissors, you cut yourself off, or I'm gonna give you enough rope to hang yourself. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times when I look at it, I'm looking at it from a lens of, I gave you the access and I allowed you to be there, and then you made the decision that you didn't, that you wanted that access revoked. But I never thought of it from the perspective of that could have been where you were in that particular point in your life. Yeah. So I definitely appreciate that conversation because it made me reevaluate how I think about that particular situation.
I'll tell you, brother, when you fucked up as much as I fucked up, you kind of learn.
Yeah.
Because I haven't always made the best decisions. And younger ex, he would be like, man, I didn't really do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But then I had to see it from other people's perspective. Mm-hmm. Like, I can understand that. And sometimes you just gotta, you gotta swallow your medicine. Shit still hurts. And I just wouldn't want to put anybody else through that.
Yeah, I think empathy is a big thing to have, especially when you're dealing with somebody that you say you care about or you once cared about, because, feelings change, things change, and you do get to the point to where you revoke that access for certain people.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think you always have to have that empathetic mindset, as far as saying that I'm not going to cut you off forever. Because I think one of the biggest phrases, and maybe I use it in not the best or not the right context. Mm-hmm. Because I always say,
use your words.
Well, I'm trying to work through it. I
you want to kick your feet up? You can, brother. Welcome to X's couch.
But going back to, when I say I just gave you the rope. At the end of the day, yeah, that was where we were at the specific time.
Yeah.
And so I always say, once you get cut off from that particular time, that's kind of it. But I wouldn't, like you said, I wouldn't want anybody to do me like that. If I was in a bad headspace,
yeah, and
I made a decision based on the headspace I was in, and then I was trying to, I guess, correct that wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the opportunity to do it. So that it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to have the empathy, especially for somebody that you say that you
really care about
or love.
Yeah. It's some people it's easy to cut them off and stuff like that, but yet others it's like, okay. But people can play off of that empathy.
Yeah.
And just manipulate you, but that's why I always say, is you gotta invite them back at a certain role, and I think you'll find out, like, all right, they really don't care about me, or they really ain't about shit and stuff. Or you can find out, like, well, they just a fuck up. They love the shit out of me, but they just really a fuck up.
So okay. I like that you said that. Going to that topic, do you allow that to happen? Like, they just a fuck up. But do you get to a point to where that's accepted behavior, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think you get to a point where it's like, all right, I just love you from a distance. It's okay. I mean, okay. I'm not gonna shun you away.
Yeah.
But I'm not reaching out to be around you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put myself in a specific space to.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say fake friendly, but
it's just love from a distance.
Yeah, it's just all right. I know I can't do this around you, or I don't need to be around when this and this is happening, because I know.
Or I don't need to look for you
when when there's certain things, because I know you ain't got that access. You know what I'm saying? That's above your skill level of friendship or of love or family.
Above your skill level.
Yeah, so everybody has a purpose in your life and stuff, and that's not saying purpose like you got to use somebody, but everybody has their season. And sometimes, just like in the real world, seasons rotate. So they might have a season that come back around a certain time. You have your business relationships and friend relationships, and like, okay, well, I don't see you all the time, but when we do this, then that's when I need to have you around.
Man,
and other than that, I'm good.
Man, that is. Yeah.
Hey, brother, look, I graduated in accounting, but
That was
dropping gems sometimes.
Hey, that was an epiphany.
I ain't gonna remember shit I said tomorrow.
That's why we got to record it. But nah, dead ass. That was like.
Nah, I'm recording.
That was like, everybody doesn't have that capacity, and I think a lot of times we get into the mindset of, well, I wouldn't do that, or I've done this for you. You should do this for me, and not saying that you always go into a specific situation looking for,
But payback. Let me ask you right there. How you feel about keeping tabs in friendships?
I'm not a person that keeps tabs, but in the same breath, I'm all about reciprocity. I don't think that it should ever be a one-sided friendship or one-sided relationship. And so when you get to a point to where you feel like somebody's taking advantage of that, then I feel like it's grounds for dismissal.
Gotcha.
Because everybody, I don't care who you are, wants to in a personal relationship wants to have reciprocity.
Yeah, definitely. And if not, then
I'm gonna let it go. And that doesn't mean that you're gonna give exactly what I'm gonna give, because we're two different people and our mindsets are different. The way we show love, affection, appreciation, the way we show all of that is going to be different. But I'm never going to allow you to make a fool out of me because you take advantage. because you take advantage of that empathy. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people do take advantage of situations. And so,
side conversation. Brown sugar versus Love and Basketball.
I'm gonna go Love and Basketball. I have to.
I'm Brown sugar.
I have to go Love and Basketball. I have to go Love and Basketball. But yeah, speaking of which,
it's all off topic.
Y'all tap in on this conversation because we definitely want to hear what y'all think about it. If anybody wants to come on and defend anything or add to anything that we've had in the conversation tonight, hey, the line is always open. Hit us up on 2 Cent Podcast on Instagram and hop in the DMs.
Yeah. If you want to be a guest on the show, listen to the show.
Listen to the show. Number one.
That's the first. But I was hit us up, man. We are always looking for a difference up here because I was talking to Dub about this. I'm like, I don't like. Do we need to bring more people on because on a lot of points we do agree. And I don't want it just to be like one sided.
Yeah, for sure.
So sometimes we do need that
different energy
dichotomy, I guess you would say.
Hey, I like that. Come on now, SAT.
Look, tried it. I tried. I was a Duke scholar back in the day. Hey, but yeah, or just drop your comments.
Yeah,
in
for sure.
We we can always go back and read them and stuff. We read the comments because it only be like 3 of them.
Right. We ain't got shit else to do. But nah, top 3 for the week. We do have a top 3. This week's top 3 is top 3 theme songs.
Okay.
What's your top 3?
I've been on my Jamie Foxx binge.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go Jamie Foxx, the original one.
Okay.
Number 2, these are no particular order. I'm gonna go In Living Color.
Okay.
And number 3, take it back again with DuckTales.
You stole one of mine. We're gonna go top 3, and I'll start off with the one that you stole because I am definitely going DuckTales. Like, I don't understand how if you watch cartoons, I don't understand how you watch cartoons and you feel like DuckTales was not in your top. Like, it's got to be in your top 3. My number 2 is gonna be, and like you said, no particular order. My number 2 is going to be an ode to the beginning of the show because in West Philadelphia, born and raised, Fresh Prince. That
is iconic.
Yeah, that is iconic. And then I'm gonna definitely go to a show along the same lines that I definitely grew up from. And it taught me a lot of life lessons. I'm gonna go Family Matters, man.
I had to feel like you was gonna say that.
Family Matters was one of my favorite theme songs.
You was Carl Winslow at one point.
Yeah, man. So those are my top 3. Everybody definitely let us know what your top 3 are in the comments. We want to hear from you. Like I said, if you, like X said, if you want to be a guest on the show, hit us up at 2 Cent Podcast. So if you know us personally, go and shoot the text over.
They don't be somebody we don't know. It'd be like, hey, let me be on this. Like, I don't know. We had to book a studio session. I had that goddamn it on me.
Because you can't come to the house. But nah, y'all know what it is. You can agree with us. You can disagree with us. You can do what the fuck you want to do.
Father, fuck you.
At the end of the day, that's just our 2 cents on the man. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week for episode number 38.
All right.